Imagine a wave of sound hitting you. It's a physical force. Bass thumps deep in your chest, a rhythm that seems to sync with your own heartbeat. Thousands of people are moving as one, a river of color feathers glitter flowing through the streets. This isn't just a parade. It's not just a festival. This is Trinidad and Tobago Carnival, the greatest show on earth. It's a spectacle of pure, unadulterated joy. A celebration so intense, so vibrant it has to be seen to be believed. But what if I told you that behind all this energy, all this music, and all this freedom lies a story of rebellion, survival, and incredible creativity? This annual explosion of life is more than just an excuse to party in the streets of Port of Spain. It is the soul of a nation, expressed in its most powerful form. Carnival is a time when the entire country comes alive, when social barriers dissolve, and everyone is united by the beat of soca and steel pan. It's a cultural phenomenon that is spread across the globe, inspiring similar celebrations in London, Toronto, Miami, but none of them capture the raw, authentic spirit of the original. Here, Carnival is not just an event. It is a fundamental part of the national identity, a tradition passed down through generations. If you're enjoying this journey into the heart of Carnival, take a moment to like this video and subscribe to the channel. You won't want to miss what's coming next. So what is the real story behind this incredible event? Where did it come from? It's a tale that begins not with glitter and feathers, but with French aristocrats, enslaved Africans, and a fierce fight for freedom. It's a history filled with struggle and defiance. The very essence of Carnival was forged in the fires of emancipation. Over the next 46 minutes, we are going to pull back the curtain on this amazing tradition. We'll explore its shocking origins, trace the evolution of its iconic music, and reveal how this small island nation pulls off this massive spectacle year after year. Get ready to dive deep into a world of calypso kings, steel pan pioneers, and master costume designers. We will uncover the secrets of Jouvert, the pre-dawn ritual that kicks off the main event. We will listen to the sounds that define the celebration, from the lyrical social commentary of calypso to the high-energy pulse of soca music. You will learn why Trinidadians have such a deep, unbreakable love for their carnival. This is the full, untold story of how a colonial-era festival was reclaimed and transformed into a powerful symbol of identity, freedom, and pure, unfiltered joy. Many people see clips of Carnival and think they understand it. They see the beautiful costumes, the dancing, the smiling faces, and they label it as the ultimate Caribbean party. And while it is an incredible party, that's only scratching the surface. To truly understand Carnival, you have to look beyond the 2 days of street parades. You have to see it as a year-long journey. It's a cultural institution that involves meticulous planning, intense competition, and staggering community participation. It's an economic engine that supports thousands of artists, artisans, and entrepreneurs across the country. This video will guide you through every aspect of that journey. We will start at the very beginning, in the late 18th century, when French planters held lavish masquerade balls before Lent. But the real story begins when the enslaved Africans who were banned from these parties created their own parallel celebration. This was their act of defiance, a way to mock their enslavers and preserve their own cultural traditions. After emancipation in 1838, these celebrations erupted from the plantations onto the streets, and modern Carnival was born. It was raw, chaotic, and often controversial. From there, we'll trace the incredible musical innovations that emerged from this cultural melting pot. We'll explore the birth of calypso, the voice of the people used to spread news and challenge authority when other forms of protest were impossible. Then, we'll uncover the genius behind steel pan, the only acoustic instrument invented in the 20th century. Born from the discarded oil drums of Trinidad's industrial landscape, it became the signature sound of the nation. We will take you inside the panyards where steel orchestras practice relentlessly for the prestigious Panorama competition. Finally, we will look at what Carnival means today. How does a small nation manage the logistics of an event that attracts hundreds of thousands of people from all over the world? We will talk to the bandleaders, the costume makers, and the everyday Trinidadians who pour their hearts and souls into this tradition. We will also explore the deep, personal connection people have to Carnival and discuss some of the controversies surrounding its commercialization and cost. This is not just a history lesson. It's a story about identity, resilience, and the unbreakable spirit of a people determined to celebrate their freedom. To find the very beginning of Trinidad Carnival, we must travel back in time to the late 18th century. In 1783, the Cedula of Population was issued, a Spanish law inviting new settlers to Trinidad. French Catholic planters arrived, and their enslaved workers came with them. They were offered free land to boost the island's struggling agriculture. Vast plantation estates and sugar fields rose up. This influx forever changed the island's cultural landscape. The French brought their language, they brought their food, they brought their customs, and, most importantly, their pre-Lenten masquerade traditions. These were extravagant masked fetes held in great houses. The settlers, the plantocracy, lived lives of immense luxury. That luxury was built on the brutal labor of enslaved Africans. In the days before Ash Wednesday, they indulged in one last burst of revelry. They hosted elegant masked balls, fetes, behind closed doors. Guests disguised themselves with elaborate masks and costumes. They were mimicking the high society of Europe, fine dining, waltzing, celebrating their wealth and status. This was the first seed of Carnival in Trinidad, a private affair for the elite. Enslaved Africans were strictly forbidden from participating. They could only watch from a distance, seeing a world they could not touch. Masks and costumes, the music and dancing, visible but untouchable. The irony was thick, planters masking themselves to pretend to be someone else. That act of masking was not lost on the people they enslaved. They would soon adopt and radically redefine the concept of masking. The French planters mimicked the carnivals of Venice and the carnivals of Paris. What they planted would grow into something the planters never imagined. While the French planters danced in their great houses, the enslaved Africans were developing their own secret celebrations. These were acts of profound cultural resistance, stripped of their freedom, stripped of their families, stripped of their native languages. They held on to their traditions through music, storytelling, and ritual. They cleverly disguised their African spiritual practices, blending them with the Christian traditions forced upon them by their enslavers. These clandestine gatherings were a lifeline, a way to maintain their identity and humanity under the most oppressive conditions imaginable. They were not just parties, they were acts of survival and quiet rebellion, hidden in the slave quarters and forests. A crucial influence on what Carnival would become was a practice known as canboulé. The term comes from the French can brûlé, which means burnt cane. Whenever a fire broke out in the sugarcane fields, a great tragedy for the plantation owner, the enslaved were rounded up. They were forced to march into the fields, carrying flaming torches to harvest the cane before it was completely destroyed. This was a brutal, exhausting, and dangerous process. The conch shell would be blown, horns would sound, and the rhythmic cracking of whips would echo through the night as the enslaved were driven to work. This terrifying reality would soon be turned on its head. In their own secret festivities, the enslaved Africans began to reenact the canboulé. They mocked the chaos and the cruelty of the event. It was a powerful and satirical performance. They would imitate the frantic orders of the plantation owners and the cracking of the whips. They carried lighted torches, not as a symbol of forced labor, but as a symbol of their own resilience. This reenactment was a way of taking control of their trauma, turning a symbol of their oppression into a ritual of commemoration and resistance. This canboulé procession became a cornerstone of the enslaved people's own carnival. It was their answer to the planters' masquerade balls. While the elite hid their faces behind delicate European masks, the enslaved took to the night with flaming torches, chanting, and drumming. Their celebration was not about frivolous fantasy. It was rooted in the harsh reality of their lives. The rhythms of the canboulé, the call and response chants, and the defiant energy of the procession would become the beating heart of Trinidad Carnival after emancipation, a powerful reminder of its origins in the struggle for freedom. Everything changed on August 1, 1838. This was the day that slavery was finally and fully abolished in the British Empire. For the hundreds of thousands of formerly enslaved people in Trinidad and across the Caribbean, it was a moment of indescribable joy and release. The chains were broken. They were, at long last, free. To celebrate this monumental event, they took to the streets. They flooded the towns and cities, especially Port of Spain. A massive, spontaneous celebration. Not the planters' polite pre-Lenten festival, an explosion of pure freedom. The date was significant. August 1st became the new anchor. They began to mark the anniversary with street processions, Canboulay moved out of the secrecy of plantations into the public square for all to see. A bold, defiant act. They were no longer hiding. They marched openly with their torches. They marched with their drums. They marched with stick-fighting rituals, claiming the streets as their own, transforming public space into a stage for liberty and a memorial to past suffering. The colonial authorities and upper classes were horrified. They called it barbaric. They called it noisy. They called it dangerous. They saw Canboulay's fire and its drumming as a threat to public order, the start of a long, bitter struggle for control of Carnival. The elite tried to suppress the people's festival. They passed laws to ban drumming. They prohibited the carrying of torches. They outlawed masked groups gathering in the streets. They wanted to sanitize Carnival, force it back into a European mold. But the people refused to give up their celebration. For them, this was not just a party. It was a fundamental expression of their hard-won freedom. Every attempt to suppress Carnival met fierce resistance. The festival became a battleground between the colonial establishment and the working-class people of Trinidad. The street celebrations became more than memory of emancipation. They became a fight for cultural survival and the right to celebrate on their own terms. This clash shaped Carnival, infusing it with a spirit of defiance that remains a core part of its identity to this day. In the decades following emancipation, the street carnival became the domain of the urban working class. These were the people the French Creole elite looked down upon, derogatorily calling them the Jamet class. The term comes from the French word diamet, implying they were beneath the line of respectability, part of the underworld. This group consisted of singers, dancers, stick fighters, prostitutes, who lived in the barrack yards of Port of Spain. They were marginalized and scorned by polite society, yet they truly owned the streets during Carnival. They shaped the festival into a powerful expression of their culture and identity. The Jamet Carnival was confrontational and provocative, a direct challenge to colonial values. Masqueraders, known as Mas, portrayed characters that satirized the establishment and terrified the establishment. One of the most famous was the Negue Jaden, field slave, who covered themselves in black grease or molasses to mock ideas of dirty blackness. Stick-fighting bands descended from Central African warrior traditions, roamed the streets, engaging in ritualized, often bloody battles for territory and honor. This was a visceral display of power by those who had none. Authorities tried to crush the festival. In 1881, their efforts culminated in the Canboulay riots in Port of Spain. Police led by Captain Arthur Baker sought to extinguish the Canboulay procession and confiscate the drums and sticks. But the people fought back. Residents armed themselves with bottles, stones, and fighting sticks, defending their right to celebrate. The confrontation was violent and bloody, but the people repelled the police. The Canboulay riots marked a turning point. The spirit of Carnival could not be extinguished. The people had won, cementing ownership of the street festival. Government regulation continued, but Carnival's existence could no longer be denied. The Jamet Carnival, born in barrack yards and forged in defiance, had secured the true soul of Trinidad's celebration. It was a festival for the people by the people, marked by struggle, rebellion, and an unshakable desire to be free and to be seen. As Carnival took root in the streets, it needed a soundtrack, a voice to tell its stories. That voice became Calypso. The origins of Calypso are found in West African traditions of praise-singing social commentary brought to the island by enslaved people. In the barrack yards of post-emancipation Trinidad, these traditions merged with other influences: French Creole folk songs, Spanish string music. The early Calypsonians were known as chantwells or griots. They were the storytellers, oral historians, and social commentators. They led stick-fighting bands into battle, singing songs of bravado and taunting rivals with lyrical wit. These chantwells became the first stars of the people's carnival. Their role was crucial. In an era when most of the population was illiterate and had no access to newspapers or political power, the Calypsonian was the primary source of news and opinion. They sang about everything: political scandals, neighborhood gossip, the high cost of living, the latest sensational crime. Their songs were clever, filled with double meanings, satire, and innuendo, double entendre. This allowed them to criticize the powerful colonial authorities and the island's elite without facing direct punishment. Calypso became the people's newspaper, a powerful tool for speaking truth to power in a coded lyrical language. The language of Calypso was a rich fusion, initially sung in a French-based Creole known as patois. As English became the dominant language of the island, Calypso evolved with it, but it never lost its unique lyrical style and rhythm. The first Calypso recording was made in 1912, and the genre's popularity began to spread beyond Trinidad's shores. Calypsonians adopted grand stage names like Lord Invader, the Roaring Lion, and Attila the Hun. They competed in tents, venues where they would perform their new compositions for the Carnival season, vying for the coveted title of Calypso Monarch. These tents became intellectual and creative hubs, the proving grounds for the nation's sharpest wits. Calypso was more than just music. It was a form of social and political resistance. It gave a voice to the voiceless and held a mirror up to society, reflecting its flaws and celebrating its triumphs. Songs like Lord Kitchener's The Road, which became a timeless road march anthem, captured the pure joy of the festival. Others, like the Mighty Sparrows' Jean and Dinah, chronicled social changes, such as the departure of American soldiers after World War II. Through its witty lyrics and infectious rhythms, Calypso documented the life of the nation, solidifying its place as the undisputed narrative and musical soul of Trinidad and Tobago Carnival. While Calypso gave Carnival its voice, another musical revolution was quietly taking shape in the impoverished neighborhoods of Port of Spain. This innovation would give the festival its signature sound, a sound so unique it is celebrated around the world. This was the birth of the steel pan. The story of the steel pan is a testament to the incredible ingenuity and resilience of the Trinidadian people. It begins once again with suppression. Following the Cambule riots, the colonial authorities banned the drumming of skin-headed drums in an attempt to silence the loud and disorderly street processions. The people, however, refused to be silenced. Their spirit of musical defiance simply found a new outlet. Deprived of their traditional drums, the masqueraders and revelers of the working class began to search for alternatives. They started by creating rhythm on whatever they could find. They formed tambu bamboo bands, bamboo stalks, beaten on the ground and against each other to create a percussive orchestra. During World War II, the old tambu bamboo bands were replaced by something new. The streets were filled with the clanging of metal on metal, as people banged on dustbin lids, paint cans, and biscuit tins. It was noisy and chaotic, but a new sound was emerging from the din. The true breakthrough happened in the late 1930s and early 1940s. Young men in neighborhoods like Leventil, Gonzales, and Woodbrook began experimenting with these metal objects. They discovered that by hammering the flat surfaces of paint cans and oil drums, they could change the pitch. A dent in one spot would produce a different note from a dent in another. This was the moment of discovery, the spark of genius. Winston Spree Simon, Ellie Minette, and Anthony Williams are now celebrated as pioneers who transform noisy metal objects into finely tuned musical instruments. They were the accidental inventors and grassroots physicists of a new musical age. Through countless hours of trial and error, these young innovators learned how to sink the surface of the 55-gallon oil drum, which became the standard raw material, and then skillfully hammer out individual notes. They figured out the complex physics of tuning, separating the notes with grooves so they wouldn't bleed into one another. It was a remarkable achievement. From the discarded industrial waste of the island's oil refineries, they created the world's only acoustic musical instrument invented in the 20th century. The steel pan was born not in a conservatory or a laboratory, but in the backyards and streets, forged from poverty, rebellion, and a relentless creative spirit. The invention of the steel pan gave rise to a new cultural institution, the steel band. These bands were initially small, rough-and-tumble ensembles, often associated with the Bad John stick-fighting culture they replaced. Rivalries between steel bands from different neighborhoods were fierce, and clashes were common during Carnival. But as the instrument became more sophisticated, the bands did too, shifting focus from street fighting to musical competition. The birthplace and rehearsal space was the pan yard. A simple, open-air lot or backyard where the magic happened. The pan yard became the heart and soul of the movement. The pan yard is more than a practice space. It is a community center. It is a social hub. It is a school. It is where pans are painstakingly made and tuned, a skill passed down through generations. Arrangers compose and teach complex scores entirely by rote, with players memorizing hundreds of notes without sheet music. During Carnival, the panyards come alive every night, the air filling with shimmering metallic tones as entire orchestras, sometimes 100+ players, rehearse for hours, perfecting their performance for the biggest competition of all. Panorama. Panorama, which began in 1963, transformed the steel band movement, elevating it to new levels of complexity and virtuosity. Bands perform intricate 10-minute arrangements of the year's calypsos, a fierce battle for prestige and national bragging rights. Winning Panorama is the ultimate prize. The competition pushes incredible innovation, symphonic works of breathtaking speed and harmony. The finals at the Big Yard in Queen's Park, Savannah, are a highlight of Carnival, a spectacle that draws massive crowds. From noisy street percussion groups, the steel band evolved into a full-fledged orchestra, capable of playing any genre of music: calypso, classical. The Panyard is the crucible of that transformation year after year. It is where discipline is learned, where community is built, where the art form is preserved and pushed forward. The journey of the steel pan, when the steam sai, spin steel babai, when the steel went from the dustbin to the symphony orchestra, Sandrock the by, shows how Trinidadian culture turned industrial waste into immense national pride. Just as the music of Carnival evolved, so did the masquerade, or Maz. The early Jamet Carnival was defined by its confrontational and satirical characters. The Neged Jadin, the Pierrot Grenade with his academic gown and display of mock scholarship, the Moko Jumbi, a towering stilt walker with West African origins. All served to mock the establishment and celebrate folk traditions. The Jab Jabs, who covered themselves in blue devil paint. The Jab Molassie, smeared with black molasses. This was Olmas, or Old Maz, a form of street theater that was witty, political, and deeply rooted in social commentary. Over the course of the 20th century, however, a new style of Maz began to emerge. As the middle class began to participate more in the street festival, the focus started to shift from individual satirical characters to large, organized bands. These bands would choose a historical, fantastical, or topical theme, and all the members would wear costumes related to that theme. This was the birth of Pretty Maz, George Bailey, Harold Saldina, epic historical presentations with thousands of masqueraders, Imperial Rome, Back to the Hills. The emphasis moved towards aesthetic beauty, craftsmanship, and grand spectacle. This shift created a new kind of carnival artistry: wirebenders, featherworkers, designers. The bandleader became a master organizer. The mass camp replaced the barrack yard as the center of costume production. The highlight became the Parade of the Bands, a competition judged on creativity, the beauty of their costumes, and their overall presentation as they parade through the streets of Port of Spain on Carnival Tuesday. The competition for the Band of the Year title became as fierce as the Panorama Contest and Calypso Monarch Contest. Today, Trinidad Carnival showcases both traditions. Ole Mas still thrives, especially in the early morning parades, with its clever puns and political satire, providing a sharp contrast to the spectacle of Pretty Maz. Pretty Maz has evolved into what we see today, a sea of thousands of revelers, brightly colored costumes, bikini and feather-based costumes, dancing through the streets to the sound of mobile sound systems. Some critics argue that Pretty Maz has lost the theatrical and narrative depth of historical mass. But its sheer scale, energy, and visual splendor have become the dominant global image of Trinidad Carnival. A breathtaking spectacle of color and movement. Section 5. Jouvert and the Pulse of Soca, the modern rhythms of Carnival. No discussion of modern Carnival would be complete without paying homage to its official-unofficial start. Jouvert. The name comes from the French jour ouvert, meaning daybreak or opening of the day. It is the raw, anarchic heart of the festival, beginning in the pre-dawn hours of Carnival Monday. Jouvert is a direct descendant of the Canboulay processions. It is a celebration where the rules of polite society are completely suspended. Thousands of revelers take to the streets, covered from head to toe in mud, oil, paint, and even chocolate. It is a ritual of catharsis, a symbolic baptism in the earth, washing away inhibitions before the Pretty Mas begins. The energy of Jouvert is primal and intoxicating. It is the complete opposite of the spectacular, organized parades of Carnival Tuesday. Here, the masquerade is not about beauty, but about liberation. People become anonymous figures, part of a moving, pulsating mass of humanity. They dance with wild abandon to the sounds of steel bands playing old-time calypsos or rhythm sections known as iron bands, which pound out an irresistible beat on brake drums and metal objects. Jouvert is Carnival at its most elemental and democratic. It is a reminder of the festival's rebellious roots, a celebration of freedom in its most visceral and unadorned form, before the sun rises, on the spectacle to come. The musical pulse that drives Jouvert and the rest of modern Carnival is soca. developed in the 1970s by the legendary Lord Shorty, Soca was born from a desire to revive what he saw as the fading energy of calypso. He fused the lyrical traditions of calypso with the rhythmic influences of East Indian music, dholak, tabla, and the driving beat of American funk and soul. He called his creation the soul of calypso, which was shortened to soca. The result was a new genre of music designed specifically for partying and dancing, with an emphasis on high energy, call and response hooks, and a relentless, body-moving beat. Soca has since become the dominant sound of Carnival, evolving into various subgenres like power soca, with its frantic tempo, and groovy soca, with a more melodic and slower rhythm. Every year, artists release a flood of new soca tracks, all competing to become the road march, the song played most frequently by bands on the parade route. Soca is the fuel of Carnival. It is blasted from massive music trucks that follow the mass bands, providing an endless wave of energy that keeps hundreds of thousands of people dancing for 2 straight days. It is the modern heartbeat of the festival, a sound created for the specific purpose of collective joy and mass celebration. Table of Contents. Part 4. Act 3. Carnival, Today, Practice, Economy, and Community. About 4. Section 1. The year-long machine. How Carnival is made. So how does this massive nationwide party even happen? Do people just wake up one day and decide to dance in the streets? Not even close. The truth is, the moment one carnival ends, the planning for the next one begins. Carnival is a year-long machine, a colossal undertaking that requires meticulous planning and the coordinated effort of thousands of people. It starts in the mass camps, the creative factories where the spectacular costumes are born. Band leaders spend months conceptualizing a theme. Designers spend months conceptualizing a theme. They sketch designs. They source materials from all over the world. They build prototypes. It's a high-stakes creative process that sets the stage for the entire spectacle. Once a theme is chosen, the band is officially launched, usually in the middle of the year. These band launches are huge parties in their own right. Models showcase the different costume sections to the public. This is when the frenzy begins. People rush to choose their costume. People register with their chosen band. People often pay in installments over several months. For the mass camp, this kicks off a massive production cycle. Artisans work around the clock for months. Wirebenders work around the clock for months. Seamstresses work around the clock for months. Volunteers work around the clock for months. They bend wire into fantastic shapes. They glue on millions of beads and jewels. They stitch countless feathers, turning raw materials into the wearable art that will flood the streets. At the same time, the musicians are just as busy. In the calypso tents, seasoned veterans spend months writing and composing their songs for the season. In the calypso tents, ambitious newcomers spend months writing and composing their songs for the season. They are crafting clever lyrics and catchy melodies, hoping to win the calypso monarch crown or capture the public's imagination. In the panyards, the steel bands are also hard at work. Arrangers select a popular calypso or soca song. Arrangers begin the painstaking process of transforming it into a complex 10-minute symphonic masterpiece for Panorama. The nightly rehearsals become a ritual, building in intensity as Carnival Monday and Tuesday draw closer. It's a massive, parallel operation of creativity and logistics. The band leader is not just an artist, they are the CEO of a temporary manufacturing and events company. The calypsonian is not just a singer, they are a poet. The calypsonian is also a social critic. The steel band captain is not just a musician, they are a community leader. The steel band captain is also a conductor. All these moving parts, from the first sketch in a designer's notebook to the final note played in the panyard, have to come together perfectly. It's a year of passion, dedication, and sleepless nights, all building towards 2 glorious days of release on the streets of Port of Spain. Section 2. The billion-dollar Beat Carnival's economic engine. Carnival is the cultural soul of Trinidad and Tobago, but it is also a powerful economic engine. This isn't just a party, it's a multi-billion-dollar industry that provides a massive boost to the country's economy every single year. The financial impact is felt across almost every sector, creating thousands of jobs, both formal and informal. Think about it. Every single feather, bead, and yard of fabric for the costumes has to be imported or produced. Every hotel room is booked solid, every flight into the country is full. The money spent circulates far and wide, touching the lives of countless Trinidadians. The most visible beneficiaries are, of course, the artists and creators at the heart of the festival. The band leaders who run the big mass bands are major entrepreneurs. Costume designers, wire benders, and artisans can make a significant portion of their annual income in the months leading up to Carnival. Soca artists and calypsonians earn money from performances at massive concerts or fetes, and from music sales. Steel bands, while often community-based, receive funding and prize money that helps sustain them throughout the year. For many in the creative sector, Carnival is not a hobby, it is their livelihood, the peak of their business calendar. Beyond the official Carnival events, a massive informal economy thrives. Think of the hundreds of food vendors lining the parade routes, selling everything from corn soup, doubles, to ice-cold beers. Consider the taxi drivers working overtime, the security guards hired for the countless parties, or the people renting out rooms in their homes to accommodate the overflow of visitors. This is grassroots economics in action. Carnival provides a unique opportunity for everyday people to earn extra income. This carnival hustle is a crucial part of the festival's economic fabric, allowing the wealth it generates to trickle down directly into the community. And then there's tourism, the biggest piece of the economic pie. Trinidad Carnival is a world-renowned travel destination, attracting tens of thousands of visitors who come to play mas, attend fetes, and soak in the atmosphere. These tourists spend millions of dollars on flights, accommodation, costumes, party tickets, and food. This influx of foreign currency is vital for the national economy. The government and private promoters spend heavily on international marketing to ensure that Trinidad remains the #1 destination for an authentic carnival experience. The festival is, without a doubt, the country's most valuable and vibrant tourism product. Section 3, the all-island effort government services and safety. Pulling off an event of this magnitude requires a level of coordination that goes far beyond the mass camps and panyards. It is an all-island effort, with government agencies playing a critical role in ensuring the festival runs smoothly and safely. Months in advance, a complex web of logistical planning begins. The National Carnival Commission, a state body, is responsible for overseeing the entire affair. They allocate funding. They manage the major competition venues like the Queen's Park Savannah. They coordinate the official parade routes. They are the master conductors of the entire national orchestra of Carnival. Public safety is the #1 priority. The Trinidad and Tobago Police Service undergoes extensive planning to manage the massive crowds and ensure law and order. Their presence is heavy and visible throughout the season. They map out street closures. They manage traffic diversions. They deploy thousands of officers along the parade routes and major events. Behind the scenes, disaster preparedness agencies and health services are on high alert. Emergency medical tents are set up at key locations. Ambulance services are on standby. The goal is to create a safe environment where revelers can feel free to celebrate without fear. The logistics of sanitation are equally staggering. Keeping a city clean when hundreds of thousands of people are partying in the streets is a monumental task. The Solid Waste Management Authority works around the clock. As soon as the last mass band passes through a street, cleanup crews move in. Trucks and street sweepers clear the routes. They clear cups. They clear food containers. They clear discarded costume parts. This relentless cleanup effort ensures the city can return to normal with surprising speed after the 2 days of revelry. It's a dirty job, but it's absolutely essential to the festival's success. Managing the influx of visitors also requires significant government coordination. The Ministry of Tourism works with airport authorities. It works with immigration to handle the surge in arrivals. They ensure that ports of entry are adequately staffed to process visitors quickly. They also run public information campaigns to help tourists navigate festivities safely. From issuing vendor permits to inspecting food stalls for hygiene, the hand of the state is everywhere, creating the infrastructure and regulations that let the chaotic, creative energy of Carnival flourish within a framework of safety and order. Section 4, more than a festival, a community affair. While the government provides the structure and the economy provides the fuel, the true heart of Carnival lies in the community. This is not an event that is simply put on for tourists, it is a deeply personal and collective tradition woven into family life. For many families, Carnival is passed down through generations. Multi-generational family posing on Carnival Tuesday, grandparents, parents, children in the same band. Grandparents who played mas in their youth, Parents continuing the tradition, grandchildren joining in. Many people play with the same band year after year, forming a carnival family with their fellow masqueraders, a bond that lasts long after the music fades. The preparation for Carnival is a community activity. In neighborhoods across the country, the spirit of the season is palpable. The sound of a new soca hit blasting from a car, the distant shimmer of a steel band practicing in the panyard. These are the signs that Carnival is coming. Families and friends gather to go to fetes together. They plan their jouvert groups, deciding on a theme and mixing their own paint and mud. This shared anticipation is a powerful bonding agent, strengthening social ties, creating a collective sense of excitement that sweeps across the entire nation, uniting people from all walks of life. Carnival is also a time of homecoming. It is the one time of year when the Trinidadian diaspora returns home en masse. People who have moved to New York, London, Toronto book their tickets a year in advance to make the annual pilgrimage. They come back to reconnect with family, to soak in the culture, and to participate in the festival that remains a core part of their identity. This mass return infuses the festival with even more energy and emotion, turning the entire island into a massive family reunion. It reinforces the idea of Carnival as an anchor of Trinidadian identity, a cultural home base for its people worldwide. Ultimately, this is why Carnival endures. It's not just about the costumes or the competitions. It's about community. It's about the panyard that gives a young person purpose and keeps them off the streets. It's about the family that saves all year to play Moz together. It's about the friends who meet on the road every Carnival Tuesday, without fail. It is a shared ritual that reaffirms bonds, celebrates survival, and generates a powerful sense of belonging. The practice is the spectacle, the economy is the enabler, but the community is the soul. So, after all this history, all this planning, and all this music, we have to ask the most important question. Why? Why do Trinidadians love their carnival so much? It's a love affair that is deep, passionate, and sometimes complicated. It's more than just a national holiday or a good party. For many, Carnival is an essential part of who they are. It's an annual ritual of release, a psychological reset button for the entire nation. It's a time when the everyday stresses of life, the social hierarchies, the personal inhibitions, are all washed away in a wave of music and collective joy. It's freedom, distilled into 2 glorious days. This love is rooted in the very act of participation. Carnival is not a spectator sport in Trinidad. It's something you do, not something you watch. Playing in a Maz band, chipping down the road behind a steel pan orchestra, following a music truck with your friends, you are part of the show. This active involvement creates a powerful sense of ownership. It's their carnival. This feeling is amplified by the sheer, unadulterated fun of it all. For 48 hours, the streets become a space dedicated to nothing but music, dance, and celebration. It's a level of mass euphoria that is hard to describe, an energy that gets into your soul and stays there. The love for Carnival is also a deep-seated cultural pride. Trinidadians are fiercely proud of the fact that they created this unique festival. They invented the steel pan, they created calypso, they created soca, they pioneered large-scale mass bands. Carnival is Trinidad and Tobago's greatest gift to the world, imitated but never duplicated. This pride is visible in the panyards, it's visible in the mass camps. It is a shared national achievement that everyone feels a part of. This bond is so strong that many Trinidadians describe the end of Carnival as a period of genuine sadness, a condition they call Carnival Tabanca. It's a kind of withdrawal, a deep longing for the energy and freedom of the festival. This feeling is a testament to how profoundly Carnival affects the national psyche. It's not just an event they attend, it's a state of being they inhabit. The countdown to the next Carnival begins on Ash Wednesday. Anticipation, celebration, longing, a love affair that is constantly renewed. Carnival is more than just a source of love and pride. It is a mirror that reflects the very identity of Trinidad and Tobago. The festival is a living, breathing expression of the nation's history and its complex cultural makeup. Think about it. The entire event is a product of fusion. It blends the masked balls of the French planters with the canboulay resistance of the enslaved Africans. Its music, soca, combines the soul of calypso with the rhythms of East Indian instruments. African, Indian, European, Chinese, Middle Eastern. Carnival is the stage where all these influences come together in a vibrant, chaotic, and beautiful display. This festival has always been a space for resistance, and that spirit is a core part of the national identity. From the Canboulay riots of the 19th century to the satirical calypsos of the 20th century, Carnival has been the primary tool for the people to speak back to power. It's a space where the powerless can become powerful, where the ordinary person can become a king or queen for a day. This tradition of speaking truth to power through art and satire is deeply embedded in the Trinidadian character. A performer in Ole Mas, holding a clever satirical sign. The festival constantly reminds the nation of its rebellious roots and its long struggle for freedom and self-expression. Carnival also builds identity through the act of creation. The country transforms into a nation of artists in the months leading up to the festival, the wirebender shaping a costume frame, the pan tuner perfecting a note, the soca artist laying down a new track. These are all acts of cultural production that reinforce a unique Trinidadian identity. The country is known not just for oil and gas, but for its incredible creativity. This identity as a nation of innovators and artists is forged every year in the mass camps, pan yards, and recording studios. Carnival is the ultimate showcase for this creative spirit, a declaration of cultural independence and genius. Ultimately, Carnival provides a powerful sense of belonging. In a world that is often divided by race, class, and politics, Carnival Monday and Carnival Tuesday offer a glimpse of unity. On the road, these divisions seem to melt away. Everyone is a masquerader, everyone is covered in the same paint on Jouvert morning, everyone is dancing to the same beat. For a brief moment, the nation feels like one big, extended family. This shared experience creates a powerful collective memory and a unifying sense of what it means to be Trinidadian. Carnival is the annual ritual that reminds the people of who they are, where they came from, and what they can create together. But let's be real, it's not all feathers and fun. Like any major cultural phenomenon, Trinidad Carnival is not without its controversies. One of the biggest debates today revolves around commercialization. As Carnival has grown into a global tourism product, big corporate sponsors have moved in. Corporate influence is accused of sanitizing the festival and eroding grassroots spirit. The focus, critics say, has shifted from cultural expression to profit. Logos on music trucks and branded bands. Contrast. Community-based bands of the past. Then there is the issue of cost. Playing mass in large popular bands is now incredibly expensive. Costumes can cost hundreds, sometimes thousands of US dollars. Critics say, Carnival is becoming exclusive for the wealthy and tourists, pricing out working-class keepers of tradition. The bikini and bead style is popular but criticized as generic and mass-produced, lacking the artistry and storytelling of historical mass. Is pretty mass erasing the soul of the festival? It's a fierce, ongoing debate. Safety is another major concern. Huge crowds and free-flowing alcohol create challenges for security. Annual reports of petty crime, and sometimes more serious incidents spark debate about safety management. There are also discussions about music content and reveler behavior. Some say explicit soca lyrics and hypersexualized whining signal moral decline. Others defend it as freedom and bodily autonomy. Finally, controversy over timing and structure of the festival. Panorama Steel Band Competition. Calypso Monarch Finals. Traditionalists feel these are being overshadowed by massive, privately run fetes. Worry. Commercial party scene pulls focus and resources from core artistic competitions. Artists, community leaders, and everyday citizens, they're engaged in a push and pull to protect sacred traditions while allowing innovation. Carnival is not a museum piece, it's a living, breathing culture still fiercely debated and shaped by its people. In the end, after the last masquerader has crossed the stage and the final note from the steel pan has faded into the warm Caribbean air, what remains? The story of Trinidad and Tobago Carnival is not just a history of a festival, it is the story of a people. It is a vibrant, pulsating testament to the power of the human spirit to find joy in the face of hardship, to create beauty from discarded materials, and to forge a powerful identity from a complex and often painful past. Carnival survives and thrives because it is so much more than a party. It is the annual rebirth of a nation, a ritual of release, remembrance, and pure, unadulterated freedom. From the defiant Canboulay processions of the newly emancipated to the global spectacle it is today, Carnival has always been a mirror, reflecting the society that creates it. It has absorbed every new influence, weathered every controversy, and resisted attempts to tame its wild heart. It is a space where the sacred and the profane dance together in the streets, where satire challenges power, and where art is not confined to a gallery, but is a living, breathing part of the community. The unbreakable bond Trinidadians have with Carnival is ownership, pride, and a deep, abiding love for a tradition they created, defended, and shared with the world. The future of Carnival will be shaped by tension and creativity. Commercialization, cost, authenticity. This constant negotiation keeps the festival alive. It ensures each new generation must decide for itself what Carnival means and how its story should be told. But what is certain is that the core elements, the rebellious joy of Jouvert, the genius of the steel pan, the lyrical power of Calypso, and the unifying energy of Soca, they are too deeply woven into the fabric of the nation to be undone. So, as we bring our story to a close, remember this: Carnival is more than a spectacle to be watched from the sidelines. It is an invitation to understand a history of resilience, an invitation to witness incredible creativity, an invitation to be part of a community that knows, better than anyone, how to celebrate life. It is an experience that stays with you long after the music stops, a rhythm that echoes in your memory. The greatest show on earth is, at its heart, a feeling of freedom, a feeling of unity, a feeling of pure, unfiltered joy. We hope one day you get to feel the beat for yourself.